what's going on, everybody, what's going on. So I'm going to continue off telling my story and my journey about my life. And I'm going to start with the whole cancer stuff, go deeper into that, why it happened, and etc. But yeah, man, I actually have the opportunity to share the best of both worlds. What happens on the dark side of things, and now I'm speaking on the light side of things. So, growing up, when I didn't have the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding of my gifts, my abilities, my powers, my voice, etc., I was really out there at a young age misusing my gifts like no other, man. Like, once I was able to stop myself from stuttering, which I learned about stuttering is all energy. I was a very bad stutterer on certain letters and certain words, but come to find out that I would always allow the outside to control the inside and not allow myself to fully express myself energetically. And because things were always going so fast, I would try to rush and speak when I didn't need to rush and speak. See, everything with me is always fast, speed, 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 speed. But now that I'm learning to truly slow things down, I'm able to really speak and articulate my words. Because back then, man, for those that know me back then, we used to get the best laugh about my stuttering, man. We used to get the best laugh, man. Like, I would actually create jokes about it because I didn't want to be teased about it so much. But, of course, I still got teased about it. I was chubby, stutterer, you name it, man. I was bullied for a lot of stuff, mainly my weight. But because I was so quiet, I didn't really talk much. But when I did, I was very short with words. Very, very short with words. Unless you knew me and we were friends and didn't care that I stuttered, those were the people who I really spoke to and cracked jokes about my own self. You know what I mean? To prevent from actually hurting on the inside. But yeah, man. Growing up, when I was misusing my gifts, my words, and everything. Like, having cancer on your voice box is a man. Listen, like it was so random how it happened. One day I was just cleaning the bathroom, and then the next day my voice was just gone, just like that. And I had long hair. I had very, very, for those that know me, you know about my hair, man. You know about my hair, my braids, and everything. Y'all know about it. I had the braids, I had the waves, I had everything, man. All of it gone. That's why you always see me with a do-rag on or a head wrap. Not just to cover up my bald head, but to also cover up the mark on my forehead when my permanent kundalini, where whatever that was exploded in my forehead and just boom, and then the mark just stayed there. But I covered that up a lot too, so people not staring at that and actually looking at me, like I said in my first video. But yeah, man, having cancer on my voice box, that was different. It was very, very different, man, because I could not speak. Even if I tried to speak, it was like I could not say a word. So I had to rely on my energy alone to communicate and to get around. It was all telepathy. Or I would take my phone and write out messages and show people, like, okay, this is what I need, boom, 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 boom. And peep this, imagine staying in a hotel by yourself, taking chemo and radiation, and you can't speak, and all you're doing is sleeping and throwing up, sleeping and throwing up. Can barely move, can barely do anything, could like barely ask for help because you can't speak. Nobody can hear you. And all I was doing was sleeping and throwing up. But because I was so strong-willed, man, like I would just force myself, not really force, but there was just something in me that it wouldn't sit down. It wouldn't sit down for nothing, man. And people will tell you, because back then, yes, I was in the church. I was a church drummer. I was this. Like, some people didn't even know I had cancer. Or I was going to the hospital doing chemo and radiation. Nobody could tell because the way I was moving and the strength that I had within my being. Nobody could tell because the way I was moving and the way I was carrying myself. And just like now, nobody knew I was out here like this, homeless. Nobody knew because the way I was moving and how I was carrying myself, moving in silence, getting the work done, doing the work, doing what I'm doing, and just moving, man. Just moving. Doing what I gotta do to support myself, no longer relying on anyone else to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I told myself that I would never work another 9 to 5 again just for somebody to send me home because they're not training and I figured out another way to do something and they don't like it, so they send me home and fire me. Nah, I'm good. Like, the only job that allowed me to do whatever I wanted to get the money that I needed for self was T-Mobile. That job was so fun, and it truly showed my gifts and my skills of sales and business to the point to where I legit had the district managers always coming in the store watching me, seeing how I work and what I'm doing to get my numbers. How is he doing this? How is he always at these numbers? What is he doing to keep these numbers the way he was doing it? And it got to a point to where the new manager, because the manager that trained me, she was awesome. Till this very day, man, I highly respect her. She trained me. She was like, yo, when you get the hang of this, you're going to be a beast. I was like, I agree. And long and behold, I was a beast at that job, man, to where everybody was competing against me. I'm like, yo, I just like what I'm doing because I'm free. Nobody's telling me, oh, you can't do it this way, or you can't do it that way. I always figured out ways to get my numbers by the end of the month. And I got this white hair in my nose. Wow. Told you, raw and uncut, we don't play that. I mean, but I would always have a game plan to get my numbers and stuff because I was able to do my own thing, right? I know I went off subject from cancer and everything, but I'm just, sharing my story. But I was always, I mean, like, it taught me a lot about business. But going back to the old, the whole cancer thing. But yeah, man. Like, the memories of that, they don't scare me like they used to. But it was something to remember, man, especially the radiation. Because they wanted me to keep the mask I had to wear as a souvenir. I was like, hell no, I don't want to look at that shit anymore. Because that was terrifying. They had me wear it was a molded plastic mask that will cover my face from here, from like the chest, all the way up, and it will like lock down on the table, and I couldn't move my neck at all. It was just a plastic with holes in it. It had holes in it to breathe. It was like wearing a plastic fishnet over your face, and it would lock down to the table, and they would have this big machine of radiation, and it would just blasted my face, and my whole visage and everything, man. It was wild and insane, man. Like, there was some moments where my anxiety would kick in, and I would just start panicking and shaking, and to where they had to stop the machine and come, because I was like, it was intense, man. It was intense. It was really, really intense. And don't get me started with the chemo. The chemo, look, chemo is no joke. Chemo is no joke. They pump you full of this liquid, right? They pump you full of this clear liquid. Yes, it makes you pee, but what it does to your body afterwards is insane. Like, all I could do was drink fluids. I really couldn't eat solid food. All I could do was drink liquids, and even that was hard to keep down. Anything I touched or ate, it came up. It came up until I was just fighting, man, fighting. Then I finally was able to eat and hold, like, food didn't even taste the same while I was doing radiation and chemo, man. It all tasted like nothing. Even my favorite foods was disgusting. Everything was disgusting when I was taking chemo and radiation, man. Like, nothing was the same. All I was drinking was Powerade and this stuff called Ensure, and it was just, man. And staying in that hotel by myself, yeah, it was fun, but at the same time, it was like, yo, I'm in here by myself. Nobody really cares or gives a fuck about me that I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, there was one moment where my brother did pop up and checked up on me, but about 98% of that time, I was by myself in that hotel. And it was this lone, like, I don't want to get emotional about this, but it was like, why doesn't anybody want to stay with me? Why doesn't anybody care? Where's my family? Why am I here by myself? You know what I mean? Like, it felt like, it felt awkward. It really felt awkward staying in a hotel room by myself. And the only thing that kept me entertained was my laptop with all my emulators and video games on it to, play my video games and my, on the laptop. That was the only thing to keep me entertained, and it was just wild, man. Like, I remember all of it. And it was in this city that I'm in right now. This very city, I think I said it right. Very city, whatever. But I was in this city, man. 23 years old, 7 months, could not say a word. Could not say a word, man. And then there was one night where I thought that it was over. There was one night where I thought I was finished. It was one day after treatment, chemo. Because I think, Mondays was chemo and radiation, and the rest of the cycle from Monday to, I believe, Saturday. I don't think I did it on Saturdays and Sunday, but Monday to Friday. Mondays was radiation and chemo, but the rest of the cycle was all radiation. I would just go and do radiation. But that one night, man, it felt like it was over. It was like somebody was standing on my chest, just pushing and pushing and pushing, and I was just laying in the bed like just laying in the bed, like suffocating. Like, I really thought it was over. I really thought this was the end. And then I look to my left and I see my grandma. And she was like, it's not your time. You have work to do. And then everything just stopped. And I came to again. I'll never forget that. I will never forget that, man. Never forget it. Never forget it. But let me tell you, man, when I finished that chemo and radiation, got my Purple Heart, and was able to ring that bell in the hospital for a completed treatment, I was so happy. I was so happy. I was like, no, fuck that mask. I'm throwing it in the garbage. I don't want to see it no more. I don't want to see this hospital no more. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm tired of y'all doing all these experiments, poking holes in my arm. Like, if you was to see either my left or right arm, I had holes from the needles and stuff, the chemo. Like, fam, the stuff that I was going through, man. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Like, yeah, man. This is only the cancer stuff that I'm talking about. I didn't even get into the other stuff. Like, there's so many parts to this to get to how I got here. But as you can, see that my voice is back and I'm doing these things the right way. Because I had to learn a lesson on why I lost my voice and my hair. That was like the very, very beginning of my journey, is learning why I lost my voice and my hair. That's where my brother comes in, because I got to see that version of self. It was like watching the version of self that had all the hair, that had everything before it was all taken away. And when I was watching this version of self, I was like, yo, I was a complete menace. I was a complete menace, man. Like, no control over my emotions, not grounded, all over the place, thinking I know everything, and just, nah, man. It was one of those moments where someone needed to just sit me the hell down and get me straight. And that's what happened. But it wasn't a person that sat me the hell down and got me straight. It was the death of my mother and my sister that sat me the hell down and got me straight. My mother died first in January. Then my sister dies 3 months later in the same year, in April, on the lunar eclipse. No, on the solar eclipse, April 29th, 2021 or 2022. There was a lunar eclipse there was a solar eclipse April 29th, either 2021 or 2022. And that's when my sister died. But that's what really flipped the switch. Where all my abilities turned back on tenfold and everything was just happening so fast. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. But I'm 19 minutes in, and I'm going to end it right here on that note and pick up on the next video, something like a part 2, half 1 or half 2, or however. But I'm going to speak more on my mother's death and my sister's death and, continue from there. But, yeah, man, a lot went on in my life with these near-death experiences, man. A lot. But thank you for tuning in, y'all. Signing out.